Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. Just realized I took my hat, put it somewhere, and I don't see it. That's weird. I'll just wear this one then. Anyways, I apologize for the couple minutes of lateness here. Having problems with the computer. I'm getting pop-ups that are calling for virus detection. There's nothing really there. So I'm trying to ignore it as best I can. So every once in a while, you're going to hear this little pop noise. Nothing I can do about it at the moment. So we're here tonight, here on the Prog Monster, to go over my Bill Bruford collection. So what does that really mean? So I've taken all of the albums that I own that Bill Bruford is on, and there's a fair substantial amount of them. It looks like about 15 or so. And I'm going to go through them. I'll try to do them in chronological order, but most likely I'll just do them as they come up. I will put the yes ones in order. That one's pretty simple to do. So he was on a few more Yes albums than I had originally thought he was. Got a total of 7 of them that he was on, which is quite a bit, but of course a couple of them came after his initial run with the band from the debut album through to Close to the Edge when he left the band. He also appeared a little bit on the first live album, Yesterdays, and then again came back many years later in the 90s and appeared on the Union album. Now, there was another Yes album. Well, it wasn't actually a Yes album that he appeared on, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. But to me, that's basically a Yes album. The only member that's missing really is Chris Squire. But, for the most part, that's a Yes album. And then, of course, all of the King Crimson stuff. This will probably likely not be in the order it should be. And then his solo album, too, of course, which we will also include. I only own the one solo album by him, so I can't really go overboard on that. It's checking this here. Yeah, so I'm just going to organize these King Crimson albums here. Try to get them in as close to an order as I can. I'm probably going to screw up on them because I haven't gone through my entire King Crimson discography yet. I'm still working my way through it. I've just finished what's the name of it? Stainless and Bible Black. Sorry, couldn't remember the first word in that. So I just finished that one. I took it out of the playlist. I really had a hard time absorbing that one. So the way it has gone with King Crimson is I really like the first 2 albums a lot. I didn't really like the next 2 as much. And then I really liked Lark's Tongues and Asping a lot, but I didn't really get into Stainless and Bible Black. So the next one up for me, I believe, is probably Red or Discipline. I'm not sure which one came first in the discography, but those are the next 2. So that's where I am with my King Crimson stuff. So if I don't know quite how they land, I apologize for that. So I have 9 of the 12 King Crimson albums. Okay, so next up, sorry, I'm just going to fix my phone here. It's making a buzzy noise. There, that should take care of it. That other beeping you hear is the stupid attention. Your computer is in danger. I pressed a button when I was looking up some information earlier, and it said that a virus had got on the computer, but then I did a scan with the Norton's antivirus software, and there was nothing there. So the pop-up's more of a nuisance than anything else because it goes right over where where the button is to move on to the next frame, or to where people who are coming into chat are sending their chats. So that's the only big issue with it, but it doesn't seem to affect the screen, which is good because we need to have that going. So I think how we're going to do this as I'm going to give you the King. I'm going to give you all the Yes stuff first, and then I'll give you all the King Crimson stuff, and then I will give you the ABWH, and I will then give you the Bill Bruford album. Even though I could probably give you the Bill Bruford one first, since it came out much earlier. I forgot to get my water as well. Hopefully this won't be a long video. So we'll start with the debut album from Yes. This is just simply titled Yes. Not a particularly good looking cover, is it? And there is the 5 of them on there. So let me guess. That's John Anderson at the front. Looks like Peter Banks to his right and Chris Squire to his left. Bill Bruford standing between the pylons on the right side, and I'm going to guess that's Tony Kaye standing between the pylons on the left side. Anyways, this is a decent album for a debut album. I didn't put this in my top 5 favorite debut albums from 1969. It was an honorable mention, but there's some good stuff on here. Yesterday and Today I like. Looking Around, As Sweetness, and Survival, all decent tracks. The rest I could probably live without, but it's not a bad debut album. Clearly there's some talent here right away. You can hear it. But where Yes is concerned, it's definitely not a top 10 album. I did do a ranking of the Yes albums. If you want to go in and check that out, you can. A lot of people, that one's probably one of the most popular videos. After about 2 years, it was out for about 2 years. The first year it went up around 600 views, and then nothing for a long time. And over the last year or so, it tends to get about 30 views a month. So yeah, so Yes, their debut album. I'm just going to move this out of the way because it's blocking stuff up here. So the next album up, of course, is Time and a Word. I do like the other Time and a Word cover better. You just don't see it anywhere. I just never seen it. When I bought this was the album you got. There is one notable problem with this is Peter Banks has been removed, and Steve Howe is on this cover, though he is not on this album. Kind of reminds me of Ace Frehley, right? So this is a much better album. And I would say this is almost like a big jump up for them. Then, good song, Sweet Dreams. I love that. Astral Traveler, of course, and Time and a Word. All pretty solid tunes. Still not really that Yes sound. It's a little closer to it than its predecessor, but not the best of albums. This was released in 1970. But yeah, not the best of albums, but still a lot of people have kind of taken to this album over recent years, citing it quite a bit. The other cover is much better than this. This is not much better than the debut. The next album out, another less than spectacular cover, once again showing all the members. Now Steve Howe is also on this cover, but he actually was on this album. So this is the first kind of Yes sounding album. Like this sounds like what Yes would become much more than the previous two. So if the second album was a big jump up from the first album, this is a big jump up from the second album. Got some really classically well-known Yes songs on here. Starship Trooper, Yours Is No Disgrace, and I've Seen All Good People. Now, I'm not a huge fan of I've Seen All Good People. I like it, but it kind of reminds me of Hey Jude. It just kind of goes on, and it could use, like, they could cut it by quite a bit, and that would still be a good, decent track. Starship Trooper, on the other hand, fantastic tune. That outlet, the worm, is really good. That part of it, just fantastic. I do like the clap too. It's one of Steve Howe's better kind of acoustic bits. But Yours Is No Disgrace to me is the big track on here. The big track on here, definitely, that it's such a catchy riff. They said that they originally got that from Bonanza, but somebody also debunked that and said it wasn't true. So one of them is true, but who knows in this day and age what's true and what isn't. Also, Perpetual Change, another really good song. I do like Adventure too. So there's no bad tracks on here. Some are much better than others, but there's no bad ones on here. It's a great track. And, I when I started learning to play drums some time ago, this was Yours Is No Disgrace is the reason I kind of wanted to get into it. I like that kind of part that Bill Bruford has on here. I think he really is. This is the album I really kind of discovered his abilities here. He's quite talented. Like, he's not a heavy drummer. He's not a really fast drummer. He's just a really accurate drummer. He's got a lot of skills, this guy. So, anyways, fantastic track here on that album. The next album up that he's on is this one, which is one of Yes's biggest albums, Fragile. He does do a little part here called 5% for Nothing. It's only about 35 seconds long. A little bit of a weird track, but it's decently good. And then you get all of the great sounds of this album: Roundabout, Long Distance, and then Heart of the Sunrise. I think Heart of the Sunrise is the song on the album with the best instrumentation of all the tracks on here. The drumming, I think, is the best on this particular track. There's some good stuff in Long Distance Runaround, and especially in South Side of the Sky, that beginning part's really cool too. But for me, the best part of the drumming is here on Heart of the Sunrise. It's actually the best bass playing part too. So Fragile from Yes, their fourth album. And then their fifth album, which is the final one for Bill Bruford at this time when he leaves to go to King Crimson. This is 1972, Close to the Edge, And You and I, Siberian Ketru. I find his drumming really good here, really technically sound. My guess is they decided to leave the band because there was too much nitpicking going on about every little detail, and it just drove him crazy, I guess. And so he decided to vacate it to go to a even more detailing and more melodic detailing band in King Crimson. But this is a solid album. I would venture to call this maybe the greatest prog album of all time. I think it is. And his drumming is exceptional on here. I think it's among his best drumming ever. So that's it. And then there are two more Yes albums. So he was on this album, Yes Songs, but actually I don't think at this point he was no longer a member of the band. But there are a couple of tracks on this album that they used him for from a live show before this. I'm just looking to see which ones they were. Should say somewhere. It's not saying though. Well, they're not making it easy to find. Let's put it that way. This is such a great picture. I love this picture. So this album is called Yesterdays, Yes Songs. Sorry, Yesterdays is a different album. Some nice shots in here too. Really, some of the best artwork that he did was in the middle of this album. This is pretty interesting, kind of a spacey view. So there's nothing but great pictures inside here. And of course, you got your information at the back. I'm just trying to find the song that he played on. I think there's two of them. Oh, man. They're not going to tell me here, are they? Okay, which are... Okay, so Long Distance Runaround and The Fish. Okay, Ellen White plays on all tracks with the exception of Perpetual Change, Long Distance Runaround, and The Fish, which are played by Bill Bruford. So those are the three tracks on here he plays. It's funny that they took on Alan White. I like Alan White's drumming, but he clearly is not the same sound as Bill Bruford at all. Like they couldn't be any further apart if you tried. Just like radically different drummers. So it must have been difficult for White to come in and play the tracks that Bill had played on for all those years and try to keep the sound the way it was. I mean, I'm sure he could do it. But it just isn't his style at all, right? So yes, this was kind of the last album he was on for many years with Yes, until first I'm going to do this one, even though it's not a Yes album, until he joined up with Anderson, Wakeman, and Howe here to do Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. This is a really, really good album. At this point in time, which had been like almost 10 or 12 years since Yes had released a really good album. They did those 80s albums. This one also an 80s album, but the late 80s. But you got Roger Dean doing the artwork here. This is to me a Yes album. It's very Yes-like in every way that you would want it to be. The songs are good and memorable. There's lots of sweet songs with sweets on them. Themes, Brother of Mine, Quartet, Order of the Universe. All of them have sweets on it. My favorite track on this is Teakwas. It's kind of a different track for them. The Meeting is really good. Let's Pretend, kind of a John Anderson sounding like track. But Bill is really strong on this album too. If Chris Squire had been on this album, this would have been a Yes album for sure. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. The last album he was on with Yes was this one, which was, by all accounts, kind of a mess. Nobody seemed to get along. Things were cut out that people put in here. Some of Steve Howe's stuff was replaced with some session musician. I can see why Steve doesn't like John much anymore. I can understand that fully. You've got some conflicts here with people in the band. Both White and Bill Bruford are on this album. I'm not sure what Bill Bruford plays on. I'm just going to look here. It might give some indication of what he's actually playing on here. Yeah, here it is. Bill Bruford. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, it doesn't really say what he plays on here. Perhaps he plays on almost all of them. Maybe they use both drummers. I've seen the video and I think they do, but that doesn't necessarily translate into it being the case here on the albums. But he was on this album. There are some good songs on here. This is a pretty decent album, but you can hear the conflict when you're listening to it. So there it is, Union by Yes. That was the last Yes album that Bill Bruford would appear on, to my knowledge. I don't think he's been on any others. So we're now going to talk first about we'll do his solo album first, since it's sitting here by itself. So I bought this on the recommendations of guys on Sea of Tranquility, as this being one of the great jazz fusion albums. I am not a big jazz fusion person. I don't dislike jazz fusion. There's some jazz fusion that I do like. I am not a jazz fan at all, though. So the more jazzy the album is, the less I probably will like it. There's a couple of tracks on here, Hell's Bells, of course, that I do like. Um, but overall, and it isn't that this is bad. It isn't bad at all. It's actually pretty good album, but to me, it's got too much jazz fusion in it. I'm just not a fan of that. I'm not trying to take away from the album. Many people rate this as one of the great albums that came out in the 1979 era, but it's just not for me. Um, but I do own it. I have put it on occasion, hoping that maybe I'll warm up to it a little bit. I do like it more than most jazz fusion albums, but overall, One of a Kind is just not really for me. So now we're going to get into the King Crimson stuff. So with King Crimson, I both like and don't like them, if that makes any sense. They're a top 25 band for me, and the stuff I like, I absolutely love. The stuff I don't like, I wouldn't say I actually, even using the term I don't like doesn't really make sense to me. It's just difficult to absorb. That's all it is. This one I don't mind, though. This is pretty decent. It's live in the USA. One of their multitude of live albums. This one's from the 90s or early 2000s. Sorry. I'm just so tired tonight. Early 2000s. Some good stuff in here. 21st Century Schizoid Man is on here. Lark's Tongues and Aspics Part 2. There's some other stuff that I'm only beginning to understand or get into. Exiles, Easy Money, Starless. Yeah, so this is a decent live album. I guess by most band standards, this is a great album. And the drumming on here is excellent. So you've got David Cross doing violin and keyboards on here. You've got Robert Fripp, of course, guitars and his mellotron. John Wetton on bass and the vocals, and then Bill Bruford on percussion. So he's doing all the drumming here. It's an exceptional ability you see him having here. Then you go to the King Crimson albums that he was on, and I have 6. I believe he was on 7. I think I'm missing just one. Beat, I think, is the one I'm missing. And I actually thought I had that one, but I don't. I believe that's a yellow album too, if I'm wrong. So this one, Lark's Tongues and Aspic, I like this a lot. This is, easily my 3rd favorite King Crimson album at this point in time. I haven't really taken most of the other ones that I've been here, but this one is good. This has Easy Money on it. I think the 2 Lark's Tongues and Aspics parts 1 and 2 I really like a lot. The drumming is exceptional on this album, as is all the instrumentation, really. John Wetton's voice is great on here. I like Wetton's voice because it's very kind of Greg Lake-ish, but I think it's a little bit more beefy and a little bit more louder. It may not actually be that. It may be just that's his style is more frontal, where I think Greg Lake's tends to be more ballad-like, so a little bit on the quieter side, but not terribly much so. Not greatly so. There's not a ton of difference, but I like both of their vocals, and this one is good too. David Cross is good on here as well. So Lark's Tongues and Aspic, that was his first one on it. Then the next one is Starless and Bible Black. This is okay album. I do like it. Again, featuring Cross, Fripp, Wetton, and Bill Bruford on percussion. Another good album. Not necessarily a superstar album. Some people think this is fantastic. To me, it's a little bit too jazz fusion-y. I have a hard time with it. There's a couple tracks on here I don't mind, but for the most part, I have not been able to absorb this one very well. And this actually goes back to the previous two albums, Islands and Lizards, that I haven't been able to absorb very well either. But Bill's not on those two, so we don't need to talk about them. Next up is this one, Red. So this is, I think this is the next album. Let's see if it'll tell me which one is next. Yeah, I don't see a date on this one at all. I'm going to open it up and check on the inside. God, I got my glasses on and I still can't see it. Who writes so small you can't even read it? So I'm just gonna assume that it's this one that's next, Red. It might be Discipline. One of the two are next. I'm not sure which one. This one's from '74. It clearly says it here. This features Fripp, Wetton, and Bruford. So they're down to 3 guys here. Nice shot of them. This is one of the better covers too. Although their last couple are this one and this one both have excellent covers to them. This one's on, most people have a King Crimson shirt that appears on it all the time. This is pretty good though. Nice shot of them. It's a dark covered album. I'm hoping this one will bring me into the fold, but I'm thinking that maybe it will or maybe it won't. I don't know much about the album, but I do know I like Bill Bruford a lot. I think that John Wetton is a great bass player and a great vocalist. And David Cross does do a little bit of violin on this. Mel Collins, some soprano sax. Ian McDonald, alto sax. Robin Miller on the oboe. And then Mark Carrig on cornet. But it doesn't say. Yeah, pretty. Looks like it's going to be a decent album, though. So that'll be the next one up. And then either this one or that one will be the next one. This one just, it's in red and it's difficult to see. And I do not see any indication as to what year it is. That looks like a year there, but God, Lord knows if I could read that. It's just way too small. I can't read it. Anyways, this is Discipline. So most people tell me that these are 2 of their best albums. And I'm looking forward to this one as well. Hopefully I'm going to have a couple of these. I bought all these, about 6 or 7 of them, all in one day. They were, a guy had surrendered his discography to a record store. I happened to be there. I got all of them for about $12 each. And the next one is this one, Thrack. So this is much later, like 2002. And then you also have Three's a Perfect Pair. So this one actually should be here first. So we'll do this one. So Three's a Perfect Pair, also featuring, this one's the first one that I have with Adrian Belew. Now, is he on any of these other ones? I don't think so. No, he is. He's on Red, but he isn't on here. So I'm going to say this was the next one, and Red was, and Discipline came next because it had Adrian Belew and Tony Levin on it, as well as Robert Fripp and Bill Bruford, and that's the same for on this one. So that's what I'm thinking of Red. I thought Red was next, and then this one would be after that, I believe. So yeah, so Bill playing both the acoustic and electronic drum parts on this album. I like this one. I like the cover. The best thing about this album is that it's not in a booklet type thing. And these booklet things are neat because they come with books, but I find I like the jewel cases better. They hold up better. They're easier to deal with. I just find them a better all-around thing. So there's another one to look forward to. And then the last one that I have is this one, which is Thrack. It's kind of a weird cover. I like the color scheme, the blue and the kind of blue and white feel to it. But I'm not sure what the hell that thing is supposed to be there. I'm not sure. It looks like it's a waterway, and that might be a boat. It looks like a boat that maybe got burnt. I don't know. You tell me. So this is very busy here. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. So there are 15 tracks in this. This is from 2002 track, one of their last albums. I'm just going to check here because I'm not even sure who the musicians are on this, and it might tell me in here. Oh, that's the CD case. Comes with this little CD case, which is nice. I'm trying to avoid. Okay, so you've got 6 of them in here. You've got Robert Fripp on guitars, soundscapes, and mellotron. Adrian Belew on guitar and vocals and words. Trey Gunn on stick and backing vocals. Tony Levin on upright and electric basses and backing vocals. And then you have Pat Mastellato and Bill Bruford on acoustic and electric drums. So you got 2 drummers, and both are really good. So I'm wondering what this, I have a feeling this is going to end up being one of my favorite ones. It's just a feeling. But anyways, that's my Bill Bruford collection. I've got a ton of stuff with him on it. I probably have more up on the shelf, but I mean, the one I did forget this one. The Genesis Seconds Out live album. He does play a couple of songs on that as well. Helping to fill in for Phil Collins, who at this point would be the lead vocalist, so couldn't necessarily play the complex track. So he filled in on a couple of songs along with Chester. So the 2 of them are on the album. And so that's the only one that I didn't bring out that he was on. I forgot about it. I knew there was one more. I just couldn't remember what it was. So the Genesis Seconds Out live album. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Into the Progverse featuring a Bill Bruford experience, his collection of albums that I own that he plays on. One of the more outstanding drummers. I think, if you're giving top 5 drummers of all time, he's got to be one of them, I think, for sure. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments about the album or about the any of the stuff I've said, you can do that in the comment section below. And hopefully we'll see you all next week for another episode of Into the Progverse. So take care and have yourself a good day and a good evening and goodbye. Take care.